Welcome back. This is IGN Live at E3. I'm Max Scoville. Joining me is Lena from DICE. And you're working on a little game that some people are looking forward to called Star Wars Battlefront. What do you have to show off for us today?
I have quite a lot to show. First, we're going to look at the trailer from our mission, our survival mission on Tatooine. And then we're going to look at our multiplayer video from Hoth that we showed at the EA press conference yesterday.
All right. And the survival mode, how does that work?
Okay, so we have something called Star Wars Battlefront missions that you can play by yourself or through online co-op or split screen on consoles. You can play in split screen with a friend. And so we have 4 different types. This is a survival mission. And in the survival missions, you're playing either by yourself or with a friend. In this case, there are 2 friends playing together. And you take on waves of Imperial soldiers of ever-increasing difficulty.
Okay, and are there objectives, or is it kind of more just, you're just surviving, basically?
You are surviving, but there are also, and we'll see that later in the video, there are also drop pods that are coming down, that they have supplies, and you have to guard them for a while before they drop the supplies that, you know, give you tactical abilities. Okay.
We've gotten kind of like a good presentation of, like, this game looks really awesome. Like, I'm really excited. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this is, I think for a lot of people, this is in the same way that Episode 7, you know, Force Awakens has gotten us all feeling like little kids again. This is, Star Wars games are back, you know? Like, LucasArts kind of shuddered, and that was terrifying, but here is Battlefront in all its glory, and it looks fantastic. And I know that, you know, some people have some reservations. There's the concern that there's not really a campaign, but clearly you are accommodating, you know, a single-player experience.
Yeah. I mean, we have to look at it in the way that, you know, we're DICE. We are, you know, we have a history of developing great multiplayer, and we've decided for this game when, you know, the franchise has typically been predominantly a multiplayer franchise, and so that, you know, we selected multiplayer as the focus, but we also wanted to be able to give you that experience of playing by yourself or with a friend in split screen, and we also see it as an opportunity to be able to bring players into the game. You know, not everyone wants to brave online multiplayer. It can be a scary place.
Yeah.
So giving you the opportunity to play the missions, get up to speed, learn the, you know, basics of the game, play, you know, against AI before you go into multiplayer.
Yeah,
we feel is a good way of getting you into the multiplayer.
Yeah, and we, of course, we do have other EA studios that are hard at work on other Star Wars projects that we totally can't talk about yet.
Totally can't talk about them,
yeah.
No.
One thing I'm really curious about is recently, under the kind of watchful eye of Disney, they kind of axed a lot of the Star Wars expanded universe. Mm-hmm. And you guys are, you know, along with the kind of the Marvel comics and some other corners, are getting to kind of pave new territory. You're getting to play around a little bit. We've seen some new weapons. I mean, there's the rocket launcher. Mm-hmm. There's a sniper rifle that one of the scout troopers has. Yeah. How much freedom do you have to kind of add to the universe?
So, I mean, obviously we have a very strong focus on the classic Star Wars of the original trilogy. We chose that as our starting point. We're rebooting the franchise. I mean, Battlefront is loved, but it's an old franchise, and it's been 2 cycles of consoles since then. So, and when you have Star Wars, there isn't really a lot you want to change if you think about it in that way. However, what we have to do is, of course, to accommodate the gameplay that we want to have. And in that way, of course, we're bringing in gadgets that, you know, in a logical way, expand on the universe. And in the same way, we're also expanding on it in that, you know, so the planets that we play on Endor, we play on Hoth, we play on Tatooine, we've showed that. But we also have a planet called Sullust. And Sullust is a planet that's known in Star Wars canon, but hasn't really been seen in the way that we're showing it. So what we're doing is that we're you know, DICE is creating the official visualization and the look and the feel of that planet going forward. So that's how we get to expand on the universe.
Making a planet is a pretty good approach.
It is pretty good. I'm also pretty happy because that planet is based on my home country of Iceland.
I like it. That's awesome. So we've got Battle of Hoth here. That's a Celestian right there, isn't it? Like the good old pal of Lando, Yum Yum.
Yeah, Num.
So, man, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by the game itself. We've got a lot of really familiar stuff. There is, you know, there's AT-ATs and there's snowtroopers and all that. I love that they run like real people. It looks like we're in the movie, and, and that's it's it's a little bit dorky the way they run, and that's okay, I think. You know, it's probably not very comfortable armor. Are we going to see tauntauns? Are we going to see dewbacks?
We're going to see, I mean, in all of the different planetary environments that we have, we're going to bring in sort of, you know, favorites and flavors that, you know, give you that Star Wars flavor. So on Hoth, you're going to see Wampa skeletons as an example, and then on Endor, you know, looking into the sky, into the trees, you're going to see, you know, Ewoks scurrying away, or on Tatooine there'll be Javas. So, you know, that's how we're doing it. We're using, you know, those, you know, creatures that we love, sort of as flavoring in the environments. Okay.
Now, you've been incredibly faithful to the source material, to the point of going to ILM's archives and, like, you know, photographing. What is it? Photogrammetry?
Yeah, photogrammetry is the technology by which you basically take an object, whether it's a natural object in the environment, or Darth Vader's helmet or a lightsaber, and you photograph it from. You know, you take a lot of pictures from slightly different angles, and actually running that through different software actually recreates that in 3D, which we then work on further and bring that into the game. So we're actually bringing the original props into the game. You're actually playing with the...
Yeah, so it's like the opposite of 3D printing. I kind of love that. One thing that people comment on is the sound design is really good. What do you do to go about that? Because, you know, Ben Burtt's original sound design is groundbreaking.
Yes, but I think I mean, one of the things is you know, I think at DICE we have a lot of things that we're known for. You know, we're known for the epic multiplayer battles. We're known for the scale, the vehicle play, but I think we're also, you know, quite known for sound design and the quality of the audio people that we have at the studio. And they've been given the best material, and we are working with John Williams Music, and we have access to the original sound stems from the movies, which we're bringing into the game. So I mean, it couldn't be more authentic sounding than what we're doing.
That is fantastic. So yeah, God, it's so cool, so cool. So we do have these weapons that are you know, weapons and elements that are made up, like the jetpacks that the rebels have. They don't have those in the movies. What's the philosophy for making those?
The philosophy is, I mean, we have, you know, no, the rebels don't have jetpacks, but Boba Fett has a jetpack. So, you know, the technology is you know, it exists in the universe. We're not breaking any fundamentals of Star Wars. And what we're doing is you know, we want, I mean, it's awesome. Having a jetpack and using it to traverse the environment is great. So, of course, we're taking, you know, working with Lucasfilm to make sure that, you know, whatever we bring into the universe in that way, in a similar way as the jetpack, is sort of, you know, adhering to the laws of Star Wars.
Okay. And now, of course, you mentioned Boba Fett. We have seen him in the trailer. Was that him over there? Or that was somebody else? That was
someone else.
Another jetpack user. We have seen him in the trailer. He's presumably one of the heroes, or, well, villains, more likely. How do they come into play? We've seen this in previous Battlefront, but...
Yeah, so in our game, in Battlefront, basically the heroes, they come into play as a pickup or a power-up, as we call them, in the level. So getting to spawn into a vehicle or getting some of the more, you know, powerful tactical weapons, we have these power-ups that are spread through the levels at random spawn points. And you come upon them, and, you know, picking one up enables you to either, you know, spawn in an X-Wing or become Luke Skywalker. So it's not about, you know, you don't earn them, you know, through kill streaks.
Okay.
You know, we want to give all players the ability to fulfill that.
Everybody wants
fantasy.
to be Darth Vader at some point.
Yeah, but we also want to promote the exploration of the map and the traversal of the map. So that's also a way of doing that.
Cool. And when do we get this?
November 17th.
And then shortly thereafter, isn't there is also Force Awakens?
Well, shortly thereafter, so December 18th, Force Awakens comes out. And in between, so after November 17th or on December 8th, we have a free DLC for everyone that we call the Battle of Jakku. You would get it a week earlier if you pre-ordered. And the Battle of Jakku takes place on the 5th planet, basically. So we have 4 planets in the main game, and then Jakku is the 5th planet. And on Jakku is the planet that you see in the first moments of the last Force Awakens trailer. And one of the things that you see is a downed Star Destroyer, and you think to yourself, okay, so what happened? Why, you know, what happened? Why is that Star Destroyer crashed in that planet? And in the Force Awakens, it's 30 years after the events of the original trilogy. However, in the Battle of Jakku, for the DLC for our game, you're there in the same timeline. So you're basically shortly after the Battle of Endor, there's the Battle of Jakku, and you get to see what happens.
That's awesome. So, and that's the first time you can see a planet like that is in this game. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Linda, thank you so much for chatting. This is really exciting. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. It's a great time to be a fan of any kind of game because it's E3. And for all your E3 coverage, keep it right here on IGN. Take it easy.
Thank you very much.